Hey folks, Ken here. Just a further update on the troubles. That's what the drum looks like a week after a 1.5 dose of fluke plus, and you can see the top. That's actually better than it was. The first night I put it in, it had foamed up and it come out over the top of the drum onto the ground. But anyway, I'm in the process of my bottom drain fresh and clean. Problems with the fish. The answer simply is, sorry, I see a bit of media down here for some reason. I find bits of media everywhere. Just get past, that's the new motor on my Oasi Pondvac 4 I mentioned a couple of weeks ago. I managed to knacker one by sucking up a load of carbon from the big blue, and I knackered the motor in it, and I had to buy a new one from Germany for €240. Anyway, one problem caused by myself unsolved. So fish are still not doing great. So update on last time, you can see the Tamasaba line on the side down there. I don't know what to do. Two dogs. The addition of the lurcher is my father's dog, but good friends with hers, and so they get on fine. Not good on the fish side, guys. So I, as you know, put in 2 treatments of flubanol at 1.5 strength. No improvement in flashing, and I did scrapes and there was still loads of fluke, so no result from flubanol. I did have Fluke Plus, and I did 120% dose on one day, and then about 6 days later I did 150% dose. I haven't scraped since, but looking at the fish, they're still flashing, so I still have a problem. In terms of fish, I had a Tamasaba at the end of the summer that ended up like that, upside down, and I put him in the tank inside. I then took out a Ginrin Chag, very small Tossai, that was also lying on its side. I took him out and put him in there. I did put a little bit of Fluke Plus in. Both of them unfortunately perished. I'm not finding, like people say with Tamasaba, oh, they're very hardy. They're not, in my experience. The two I've had, one of them flaked out as soon as the temperature started dropping in September, October, and the other one now is really struggling as the temperature fluctuates a bit. I think it's around 13 at the minute. The other fish look okay now, so after they were still flashing, and I had my second Ginrin Chag, had been lying on the bottom for a couple of days, and I actually got a net to scoop it out because I thought it was dead and it was still alive. So through a process of gradually heating up, it's now in a 60-litre tank. Not ideal, but I heated it up to very slowly up to 22 degrees, and he's in there and he's fine, and he's even eating now. So I'm just wondering from, we have a support network here of koi keepers, and I was asking people for advice, and you know what, when you get to this problem, there is no real answer to it, and I had it last year as well. It started like this and escalated into a bacterial problem. The positive thing is, looking at the fish, they're actually, bar the Tamasaba and the 2 Ginrin Chags, they look fine. There's no ulceration. Even my old Jin Matsuba there, who gets this white sheen on him when things aren't good in the pond, the white sheen is starting to die. It's not as bad as it was. So I'm wondering if I just had a few weak fish and I'm reacting to the impacts on those weak fish, and I'm stressing out everything. And I was getting advice, which is probably good advice if I was starting again, is do a couple of PP treatments you know, to strip off the slime coat, and then do a fluke treatment of your choice. And I just then decided, I said, stop for a minute. All I'm doing is I'm doing big water changes. I'm fluctuating the temperature. You probably saw my big shag there flash. You can see the Tamasaba, he's just absolutely exhausted, and I'd say it's more temperature. He comes around and he'll be okay. He tends to lie on his side for a while, and he's almost normal. It's kind of swim bladder. I might take him out and stick him in the 60 litre, but you know, he has to go back in here at some stage. So what I've decided to do since early last week was actually do nothing. Just leave them, stop stressing them out. I've put in a treatment. Maybe in a few weeks, if it's not improved, I'll do more scrapes. And maybe do that PP and a fluke treatment. But at the minute, you know, it's unheated, the temperatures are fluctuating. I'm at 13. It's at that point where their immune systems are kicking in and out. But most, you know, I have a small fish there the same size as the two Ginrin shags. He's fine, they weren't. You know, the two Samasabas, this fella was fine in the autumn when the other guy started having problems, but he's having problems now. You know, if it warms up sufficiently, he could be okay. Maybe if he grows out a bit, he'll be a little bit more hardy. But yeah, so for the moment, to sum it up, I'm just going to do a water change. I'm actually going to start feeding them a little bit as well, because the temperature is up, and by looking at the weather forecast, it'll stay up. So that might help their immune system a little bit, just a small bit of wheat germ once a day. And just keep an eye on things. That's all I can do. I think big water changes, more treatments, I'm just creating more problems than I'm solving. And you know, Fluke Solve Plus, I thought would have done something. It hasn't. I don't know why. Last year I had success with Learnex, not Learnex Pro, but being in Ireland, there's no easy way to get it over the last few months. So I'll have to figure that out and maybe get it and just have it on standby. But that's it. What do you do? You know, it's hard watching fish die, but that's what I've had to do. I've lost one Ginrin shag, one Tamasaba, but I say, you know, 90% of the fish look fine. A bit stressed, but they're okay. And I'd say if I put in a bit of food, they'll eat. So anyway, as I say, guys, comments if you like, but I don't think there's any definitive answer. And you wonder with the fluke medications, people say, oh, this worked for me. Is it just that it was the straw that broke the camel's back for you? You know, you did so much and eventually something worked. I don't know, but I have to clean that now. It's a mess. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Now, as I say, not as bad as it was, but I do have my trusty battery power washer will do it. But that's just thoughts on where I am at the minute. Temperature comes up will help. I've started thinking about heating again. Am I better off not to heat to ridiculous temperatures, but to stabilize the temperature in the pond, that I don't run into these problems, you know, in spring or in autumn. You know, just keep it at kind of 12 degrees, as many do. When you hear heated, you hear, oh God, that's going to cost, you know. Heat pumps are definitely getting cheaper. You know, you can pick some up for around €1,500 now that people are using and seem to be happy with them. You know, I'm not going to spend 4 or 5 grand on a heat pump, to be honest, to heat a pond. But if I got something that I could just have it that kicks in and maintains a minimum temperature, I'd be happy with it. Maybe even in the height of the winter, or the summer rather, to bring it up to that sort of 22 degree area that, to be honest, I'd never get to, you know, in sort of natural temperatures here. I'm on the coast as well, so even though if I was inland I might, but not on the coast. So anyway, that's it. Any comments, as ever, appreciated. But sometimes I think the best course of action in these things is to do nothing and let the fish's immune system try and deal with it. Yeah, there's fluke there, but you know, fluke, they are potentially, they can cause problems, but the vast majority of my fish look fine, and the two that died, I think it was just stress. It wasn't ulceration or bacteria or anything like that. It didn't look like it. Pure stress. And with the second Gain shag, it just showed that as soon as I put him in the heat, and by the way, if you ever do that, you gradually over a couple of days bring it from 13 degrees up to 22 very gradually. And he just, it was like Lazarus, just came alive. He's swimming around, he's eating, and you know, hopefully I can get him to a stage where he's big enough and bold enough by the end of this season to be fine for the winter. So I shall leave it at that, and get back to this lovely job that I have to hand. Take it easy. Cheers.